Okay, if this is a protective style, what are you protecting if your hair's never out? My hair just grew and grew out like this and was just completely reverting back to how it is natural. Like, it was shocking. Welcome back to my channel, Mothering in Style, where I share my love for fashion, beauty, lifestyle, and bring you along on my motherhood journey. So today I want to update you on my texture release. It's been 4 months since I got it done. I'm pretty sure I said I was going to update you at like month 2, so we're a little bit behind, but we're here now. So I thought I'll just answer some of the questions on my previous video. Thank you so much for the love on the previous video. I genuinely didn't know so many people would be interested in this, but I'll answer all the questions I got in the comments on the previous video, share what my routine looks like, what the pros and cons are, and overall, do I really think it was worth it? Let's get into it. So first up, some of the questions were around what is a texture release? And really, I feel like I have to direct you to Google or to a stylist because I'm not a professional, so I really don't want to be giving anyone misinformation. But to my understanding, it's a treatment that's specifically formulated for Afro hair that uses amino acids to temporarily loosen your curls. And I did get a lot of comments on here and on TikTok saying, oh, this is just a relaxer and they just put it under a different name. That's not the case. Obviously, if that's what you believe, then that's your prerogative. I'm not here to argue with you. But that's not what it is. And as someone who had relaxed hair for a long time, it's just not comparable. It's not comparable to having your hair relaxed. But to me, I think it's a nice halfway house between a relaxer and wearing your hair natural. But yeah, it's not a relaxer, but look it up, do your own research. This is for the people who just want to know what my experience is like. So yeah, but if you're against it or don't feel like it's a good thing, then that's fine. That is absolutely fine. The other question was about a texture release versus a keratin treatment and the differences. What I will say about that, again, not an expert and I don't have all the answers, but my stylist and also some other people I've spoken to had said that the keratin treatment isn't really as good for 4C hair, because I think the keratin treatment isn't as specifically formulated for Afro hair in the way that the texture release is. So whilst I do have friends who've had the keratin treatment done, none of them had a 4C hair type. And my stylist and other people I've spoken to said that if you have 4C hair, the keratin treatment can cause breakage. So that was my reasoning for not going for that. To be honest, I didn't really consider the keratin treatment. I really just decided I was getting the texture release because people that I knew and when I looked on YouTube who had my hair type had the texture release, so it was easier for me to see those results and kind of envision it. Again, I recommend everyone does their own research on these things. In terms of my routine and maintenance and all of that kind of thing, I wash my hair every 2 weeks now. I'll be honest, when I was wearing wigs a lot and my hair was in cornrows a lot, I was not doing that. And I feel like anyone should be doing that, like washing their hair at least 2 weeks. But I'll be honest, I wasn't really washing my hair as frequently as that. I was probably washing my hair every 4 weeks, which I now know is nowhere near enough. So I wash my hair every 2 weeks and I deep condition my hair every time I wash it. So I use a deep conditioning treatment mask every time I wash it. Doing that, I really think has really helped the health of my hair. In addition to that, I no longer use oils in my hair, which is a really big change for me. But again, the stylist that I use kept on telling me that I shouldn't be putting oil in my hair, and I always suffered from my hair being really dry. I always felt like no matter what I put in my hair is always dry. And since I cut out the oils and I just focused on the creams, I was already using creams, but I kind of, rather than just using them on my hair, I now use them on my scalp as well. And I wouldn't say I never use oil, but I use very, very minimal oil, and mainly just on my hairline and my edges and that kind of thing, because I really think it helped with my postpartum hair growth when I was oiling my scalp like around my edges. So I still do that. Same for my daughter's hair routine. I've taken out oils from her hair routine as well, and I actually feel like her hair is way better moisturized without the use of oil. So that's been a big change for me. The only time that I really use oil in my hair is I use avocado oil as like a pre-poo before I wash my hair, and I find that that keeps my hair super, super soft. And I think that just generally having my hair out has made me take much better care of it. The thing with wigs, or at least I found, and protective styles, I don't know, should I say protective styles in general? I think it just gets to a point where it's like, okay, if this is a protective style, what are you protecting if your hair's never out? And that's how I felt. I felt like I'd been wearing wigs for like 6 or 7 years, and I never wore my hair out for more than like a day or two in between getting cornrows and things like that. And I just felt like, is this really a protective style then? I might as well just shave my head and wear wigs all the time. If I'm never gonna wear my hair out, I'm not protecting it, I'm just hiding it. I think that's the difference. There's a protective style and there's just hiding your hair away. Stopping wearing wigs as much. I still alternate between wearing my hair out and wearing wigs. I'll mention why later in the video, but I think just having to wear my hair out more has made me take care of it, because it's really hard to continue to take care and maintain something that you never see or something that you never have out. You have to be really disciplined to keep up with that, and I just wasn't. In terms of the pros and cons of getting the texture release, I guess that is the biggest pro for me as someone who didn't wear their hair out much before and was constantly in protective styles. Having my hair out has made me look after it. I feel like my hair is so much healthier than it was before. Also, because my hair's out, I can see the growth, which is really encouraging, and I feel like keeps me disciplined. I'll put in some pictures. I'll try and find some pictures, but even if you watch my previous video and then watch this one, I'm sure you'll be able to see the difference in the length of my hair. My hair's grown so much. So definitely a big pro for me has just been the way that it's made me take care of my hair, and I think the health of my hair is much better, so I'm really happy with that. The other pro, which is a huge one for me, is just how easy it has been and how much it has cut down my routine in terms of like washing and taking care of my hair. And I was really putting off wash day. Like, to be honest, I still put off wash days because my hair was super fine, because my hair was very kinky, very coily. The detangling on wash day was too much for me. Like, it was just taking so long, and no matter what I did, my hair tangled so easily. And I just felt like that was also what was making me lose a lot of hair. Like, I was shedding so much hair on wash day, particularly obviously when I was postpartum, but even after that, I just felt like my hair was getting pulled out all the time because I was detangling it so much. And to be honest, I was probably just getting a bit sick of it and not really doing it with as much care as I should have. So the difference it has made to my wash day routine in terms of cutting down the time it takes, I just can't compare it to anything. Like, I really can't emphasize how much of a difference that makes, that now, if I want to, I can wash, blow dry and straighten my hair in 2 hours. And that's unheard of for me. And so far, I haven't had any issues with like my curls reverting. Every time I wash my hair, the curls are coming back. So I know I had a lot of comments before saying, oh, your hair never goes back to normal. I can't really comment on that because obviously I only had it done 4 months ago, so I can't say. What I will say is I have reached, I'm sure, the number of washes that they say that it lasts for, and my hair definitely still has the texture release in it, but I can really feel the difference in my roots. Where my hair's grown so much, my roots are feeling very bushy. So I don't know how long it's gonna take to wash out. If I'm being honest, I'm not massively bothered, but obviously if you are really bothered about that, then that is something to consider. And it's something that I only feel like I can comment on when I've had it in for like a year or something like that, because some people did tell me that theirs lasted like 8 months. So yeah, I will just have to wait and see. In terms of the cons, my biggest one would be that I do have to straighten and style my hair more than I expected. And I think There are some people on here who will say, oh, I had a texture release done and I straightened it, obviously when you had the texture release, and then didn't have to straighten it for 2 weeks. That's never happened to me. And I don't know if it depends on what your hair type is like before you have it done. I do think another factor is if your hair's longer, I think you're just able to pull off not straightening your hair for a bit longer. But I feel like when your hair's short, it has to be styled and it has to look sleek. And yeah, if you're wearing it straight, it needs to look like styled and put together. I think it's way harder when your hair is short to kind of have some kind of transition phase where your hair's not as straight and that type of thing. So that might be part of the reason why, but I definitely didn't expect my hair to need as much styling as I feel that it does. I think that's different for everyone in terms of how they want their hair to look, but in terms of like having this sort of look, I might need to pass the straighteners through my hair tomorrow. Like, I don't know. But what I do is I just make sure that I'm always using heat protector. I try to use the straighteners on a lower heat. So when I wash my hair and style it from scratch, I'll do it on like high heat. And then any top-ups that I need to do, I'll do it on a lower heat. And I'm not taking like tiny sections. I'm literally taking like big sections like this and just passing the straighteners through it. And my fringe, I try to sleep with it in rollers. Sometimes I just can't be bothered, which is my problem. But if I sleep with my fringe in rollers, then once I take that down, I'm good to go. I don't really need to do much. But if I don't and I've just wrapped my hair, this is so flat, I have to do something with it. It's just too flat. That would be the biggest con for me, is that it does require a lot of straightening, and I do sometimes feel like I'm just living my life in fear of heat damage. Like, that is how I feel. Sometimes I just take a break and I go back to wearing wigs. So that's what I try to do to kind of balance it and to make sure that I'm protecting my hair. And so far, when I wash my hair, I'm not seeing any heat damage. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. The other con I would mention that I think also ties into having to style it is this humidity blocker that is mentioned with the texture release. It's supposed to contain some kind of humidity blocker to stop your hair from reverting. I would say that's not as effective as I expected it to be, because I mentioned this in my previous video, but I got it done like the week before I went on holiday. I think it might have been like 3 days before I went on holiday. And when I was on holiday, my hair was not staying straight. Like, it just was not staying straight. And I just wasn't sure if it was because I'd only just had it done and maybe I needed to kind of let it settle down before I ended up in a humid climate and stuff. So that's why I really regretted getting it done the week before I went. But I remember in particular one night that I went out for dinner with my husband, and when I left, my hair was all sleek and was this and that. And during the course of that night, my hair just grew and grew out like this and was just completely reverting back to how it is natural. Like, it was shocking that by the end of the night, I looked in the mirror and was like, oh my gosh, what has happened to my hair? And my husband was like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but I didn't want to say anything. But it was not a good look. So I'm not saying it doesn't work, I'm just saying it's not as effective as I expected. If I go out with my hair like this and it's chucking it down with rain, I'm not gonna come home looking like this. Just to manage your expectations, bear that in mind. The last con, I would say, is just I really suffered from really bad dry scalp after I had it done, and it only really lasted 2 to 3 weeks. But it was bad. It was really, really bad. So that is something that I kind of made me think, does this product not agree with me? But then after like 3 weeks and I'd washed my hair a couple of times, it was absolutely fine. But I literally had like bits of my scalp flaking off, all in my hair. The top of my ears were peeling off. It was shocking. So that really kind of made me feel a bit like, But I just think next time I go, I'll kind of say, to really try not to get any of it on my scalp. And I think I have a really sensitive scalp and really sensitive skin, which I've always had. So I might need like a bit of extra precaution to be taken in terms of applying it as to how close to the roots that you go, because yeah, it wasn't all over my head, but just in this front section here, which is where it's the most sensitive for me. It's where I had really bad postpartum hair loss, and maybe that has something to do with it, but it just didn't agree with that part of my scalp. So that's something that I'll bear in mind. In terms of, do I think it was worth it? I think really it comes down to what my reasons were for getting it done in the first place. As I said in my video before, I really wanted to wear my hair out more. I wanted to just not feel like I was imprisoned by a wig. That's how I felt. I felt like this wig had me in bondage, and that was just too much for me, and it had gone on for so long. And I wanted to be able to have the flexibility to change up my look. I wanted to feel like at home when I don't have my wig on, I'm not walking about feeling like a dusty convict with my dusty cornrows. Maybe other people's cornrows are always fresh, but mine definitely weren't. And I just felt like, one of my friends always says she doesn't like wigs because she feels like you go from a 10 to a 2. And that's how I felt with my wig. I felt like once I took it off, my fuzzy cornrows underneath were not doing me any justice. And I just wanted to be able to wear my hair out, feel more confident in wearing my hair out. And yes, I could have done that with my natural hair, but I'll be honest, I invest very little time into my hair, and I wasn't really prepared to invest any more than that. And I felt for me to manage my hair texture and my hair type was just more time consuming than I was able to commit to, which is why I went for the texture release, to get that manageability and ease of styling my hair, to cut down the time, to wear my hair out more. And for me, every single one of those boxes has been ticked. So I do think it's worth it. Would I get it done again? Probably. I think it's just those things to consider, that if you are someone who wears your hair natural and wears your hair curly more often, I think probably give it some more thought and do a bit more research. I haven't done a twist out or anything, a wash and go or anything like that, so I can't really comment on kind of what my hair looks like curly, which I do really want to try actually. So I maybe need to do a bit of a video on that and try that out as well. But overall, I'm really happy with the decision that I made, and I'm happy with how it's gone so far. I'm just praying the heat damage doesn't come for me, that's all. But I'm being really meticulous in my routine and how I style my hair to try and keep that health of my hair going. So if you guys want to see any more videos about my routine or what products I'm using, I've tried out lots of different products and I feel like I've come down to exactly what works for me. If you want me to share a video on that, or you have any other questions, then just let me know in the comments below, and I will do more videos and more detail for you and let you know how I'm getting on this texture release journey. If you made it this far in the video, please do subscribe, click the button below and join the family. I would absolutely love to have you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.